Howdy folks, we are back with another battle of Draft League. This is going to be week 12 against Morgan and Dragahoe. Their team is petrifying. I'm very scared of Dragapult, I'm scared of Rillaboom, I'm scared of Hitmonlee. I'm even scared of that Galarian Corsola, so we'll see how we do. We already connected and battled out the first few turns, but Dragahoe only brought 2 Pokemon, so we had to quit out, and then it wouldn't let us connect again. So here we are for round 2. We already know how the lead matchup is going to go. The first couple moves are going to go, but I'll still clue you in. So they're going to lead Piloswine, we're going to lead with Ribombee. I decided to get up Sticky Web on the first turn, and they go for an Icicle Crash, which last time knocked me down to like 30% health, 40% health. See how much it does this time. It does even more, so they got a low roll the first time. But then I switched into Golisopod, and they went for Ice Shard to try and pick off Ribombee. But after this, it's all over but the crying. Okay, crit on the first Icicle Spear. And they only hit twice, that's beautiful. So I'm gonna go for a knockoff, because it hits everything, including this. If it has Eviolite, it can knock that off, because that's going to be super annoying, because Piloswine's crazy bulky with that. So we'll see what we hit. I don't imagine they'll stay in, because this is not a good matchup for them, offensively speaking. But yeah, nothing they have is really going to appreciate a knockoff. I'm hopeful that they'll go to like Corsola and we can get rid of that thing's Eviolite right away. So they do switch, and they do go to Corsola, so that's beautiful for us. So let's see how much this does. Okay, it does almost half, and we get disabled. So this thing is scary. It could trap with Whirlpool, but Umbreon doesn't really care what this thing wants to do. If it burns us, so be it. We can heal Bell, but okay, it goes for Strength Sap right away. That's going to heal it presumably back to full health. And it does. This thing is just a monstrosity. It's so terrifying. We're going to go for a Toxic. I don't imagine they'll stay in, but it would be great to get a Toxic on this thing. Put it on a timer. It's kind of my thought process, but she didn't bring Toxtricity, and there's no Steel type, so regardless, so long as we hit this, something is going to get poisoned. They do switch. Goes into Rillaboom. Sticky Web activates. Grassy Surge activates. Come on, let's hit this Toxic, please. That'd be nice. And we do. Alright, way to go, Umbreon. A very reliable Pokemon. So I'm gonna throw a Wish Up, because I think we can take 2 hits from this thing, unless it goes for like Wood Hammer. Goes for U-turn. And it's Life Orb, so that's good information to know. They're not Scarfed, which would be silly since it gets Grassy Surge anyway, but they're not Banded, which is good as well. They're not going to be doing as much damage as maybe they would. In comes Inteleon. We'll get our Wish up. Get some Leftovers recovery and Grassy Terrain recovery, so I'm not angry at that. And I'm just gonna go for another Toxic, because we don't really lose anything. Even if they go back to Rillaboom, doesn't matter all too much, and they are gonna switch and go into Hitmonlee. So that's absolutely terrifying, because they're going to have the Grassy Seed. We do hit Toxic. So this is an issue, because Hitmonlee activated Unburden with the Grassy Seed. I'm curious if we take like a close combat from full health. The thing is, I don't really have all that much that wants to take it. Like, Golisopod probably can, but I feel like it's still going to knock us into emergency exit range, which we don't really gain anything. So I'm just going to go for a foul play and hope that it does a decent enough chunk. Oh, that does so much. We live it, though. So the defense drop puts it at neutral because of the Seed. It resists foul play, but that still does a boatload. Goodness gracious, that does so much. Hitmonlee's attack stat is just ridiculous. Okay, so we did live. We do have defense investment, so that saved us there. I don't particularly want to lose Umbreon just yet, so I think now we'll make the Golisopod play. Because we resist fighting, I think. I think Goat or Bug resists fighting. They don't have much of a reason not to go for it again. I mean, they could go for like knockoff or something, but Golisopod's pretty tanky. Okay, so they do switch. That's great because they don't get Unburden anymore. And Piloswine comes in, which is, again, a good matchup for us, so that's pretty solid all around. So the question is, are they going to predict another knockoff from us? I'm just going to go for Liquidation, because it'll hit this really hard, and unless they go into, like, Rillaboom, it's a pretty decent play. It's probably overall our strongest move to go for. So they are going to switch out, and they go back to Corsola. So we liquidate. It doesn't do all that much, and now knockoff's not going to be doing as much. This is tough. I'm just going to go back to Umbreon. So they're probably just going to Strength Sap again to try and get their health back. And if they do that, we'll have a turn to go for Toxic. So they do Strength Sap and get their health back. So the question now is, are they going to switch fearing me going for Toxic again? I was going to say maybe they would go for, like, Nightshade, predicting it to knock us out, but we're pretty comfortably above 50 HP now. So you know what? Let's try and predict, and let's go back to Ribombee. Then maybe we can just get a hit off on something. Do they switch? No, they go for Nightshade. So that was a terrible call on my part. So, Galar, Corsola, KOs, Bombi with Nightshade. Well, we made the wrong call there. That is unfortunate. We do get a free switch now, but like... I don't really have much to hit this. I guess we'll just go back to Umbreon and try and Toxic it again. Which is what I should have done, but I figured they would think that we were out of Nightshade range and try and preserve Corsola so it didn't get poisoned. That was my thought process, but they made a good play. Okay, so now we do get the Toxic off, which is absolutely brilliant for us. This thing needs to be on a timer. It's just way too bulky. So they do go for Nightshade here. That is going to knock us down to where another one would knock us out. Take a little Poison Chip. I want to preserve Umbreon, so I'm going to go into Toph. And then I can try and get my Stealth Rock up so they can quit switching around as much as they have been. We go for Nightshade, that's no big deal. They could potentially burn us or lock us in with like Whirlpool here, which would suck, but I feel like playing the long game and getting Stealth Rock up is gonna be pretty helpful. So let's just try for it. Okay, so they go for Strength Sap, it's fine. So the toxic damage is slowly racking up. Maybe go back to Umbreon, I guess. I don't think they'd go for Nightshade on this turn. I feel like they'd maybe go Whirlpool or Will-O-Wisp maybe. Yeah, so they go for Whirlpool here. Doesn't do much. So now we can't switch. And I don't think we can get a Wish Up, so I'm just going to go for Foul Play here. Chips it down. They go for Strength Sap, that's super annoying. So they don't get all the way back up to full, but we'll see if our leftovers will save us from Whirlpool damage, because that doesn't stack, but I didn't track how much it did the last time. Does it do 31? Whew. We live on 7. Unbelievable. Alright, well, let's Foul Play again. Knocks it down into red. They go for Nightshade, that'll pick us off. So Galar Corsola KOs Umbreon with Nightshade. And then Corsola dies to Toxic. So Umbreon KOs Corsola with Toxic. Alright, well that's one gigantic threat down in the form of that ridiculous wall. I'm going to go into Azelf because we're scarfed. It's also nice that we have Sticky Web up. It's going to slow down anything they have, but we can maybe get a good matchup or just go for U-turn and try and get some momentum going again. Problem is, I don't know if I have enough offense to get through her team now. I'm not going to risk anything. I'm just going to go for Zen Headbutt. That'll knock out Hitmonlee. So Azelf KOs Hitmonlee with Zen Headbutt. Okay, another big threat down. It was already pretty neutered without its Grassy Seed and being poisoned, but still nice to get rid of it. So now they go into this demon. And it looks like it has heavy-duty boots, provided it didn't take the sticky web. That's interesting. Going to Toph. We're special defensive, so we should be able to take what it wants to go for, but it goes for U-turn. Does a little smidgen. They go into Rillaboom. Grassy Surge goes up. See, this is where it would be nice if we brought Skarmory, but we didn't do that. Brought kind of a janky team to this, but we'll see how we do. It's kind of slow going. It's difficult to say who's going to come out of this one, but it's been a very back and forth bout so far. I'm going to go into Turtonator on this, predicting a grass move. Go for Drain Punch. It's a solid middle ground play there. They're going to get some health back. So I'm going to get my leftovers and Grassy Terrain recovery, which is nice. They get hurt by poison, yada yada yada. I'm going to try for a Fire Spin here. Try and trap something. If it's this, fantastic. Okay, so they are going to switch. That's unfortunate for us. And they go into Inteleon, which is also unfortunate, but gets sticky webbed. It's probably still faster than our turtle. So we go for Fire Spin. It does Bubkiss. Just going to protect to scout what they want to go for. The thing is, if they have U-turn, they can get out of the Fire Spin because it'll let them return. So that would potentially be a good play for them to go for if they have it. We're going to protect. And they go for Hydro Pump. Okay. So we're special defensive, so while I don't think that we're going to take it all too well, we potentially could. I just don't know if we want to is the thing. So they'll get chipped down more by Fire Spin. I'm just going to go into Golisopod because we are Assault Vest. So we should take it decently well, I would think. Goes for Hydro Pump, they do hit. Yeah, that doesn't do all too much. Still does more than I would like, provided it's a resisted hit, but, you know, what can you do? So the question is, are they going to want to switch to get out of the Fire Spin now? Or I guess Fire Spin isn't up because we switched. I'm just going to go for First Impression. It's stab and it's going to hit hard and it's priority. If they switch into Rillaboom, that thing's gone. I don't know that anything's really going to appreciate it. So they do stay in with Inteleon, and that's gone. Alright. Whew. So Golisopod KOs Inteleon with First Impression. Alright, so they're down to Dragapult, Rillaboom, Piloswine. They go into Rillaboom now, which is a good play because we can't use First Impression again. So now I may just want to sack something. But I'm just going to go back into Turtonator because it's kind of here for this Pokemon. And it doesn't match up too well with the rest of their team. So, and now they go for Grassy Glide, so we're going to eat that up. Does no type of damage. And let's just go for an Iron Defense. It's not going to help us against Dragapult, but if they switch into that, then they don't. So this might actually be pretty good for us. So we're going to set up Iron Defense. They can go for an Ice move if they want, but we can go for Body Press, and at +2, it's probably going to chunk this thing. So let's try for it. If they predict that and go to Dragapult, fair play, but this is kind of a weird set that I put together, so I don't imagine they'd even know that Turtonator gets that. They go for High Horsepower. It's going to hurt, but we take it. For Body Press. Oh, that does so much. Doesn't knock it out, unfortunately, but does a fair amount. And so now, if they predict me to do that again, they might want to go to Dragapult. So I'm going to mix it up and go for Fire Spin. Hope that it hits, because I think even if they stay in, the Fire Spin damage plus the like chip damage afterwards should knock it out from here. And if they go to Dragapult, it's safe. And if they go to Rillaboom, it's super effective. So what are they going to do? They go to Dragapult. Okay, so we made the right play there. Fire Spin, and we miss. That is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. So we saw this thing go for U-turn earlier. I'm just going to protect to scout. If they go for, like, Draco Meteor, we're in some trouble. Shadow Ball, okay. So we might be able to take that. I could go to Excadrill alternatively, but I don't know that I really want to do that. Grassy Terrain ends. So let's just go for Fire Spin and try and slowly chip this thing down, I guess. Get some sort of damage on it would be nice. And if they overpredict and switch, we're in a good position, so... Oh, wow, baited. Very well played there. So they went for Shadow Ball to deke me and then destroy us. So, Dragapult KOs Turt with Draco. That is unfortunate. But now... See, the problem is they don't have, like, any chip on them at all. They're probably going to switch, though, is the thing. Because if they stay in, they're at -2 special attack. I'm going to Ice Punch, which might be a misplay, but... okay. They stay in. Ice Punch does over half. They stay in Shadow Ball. Do we take this at -2? We do. Alright. Whew. I really thought that they would switch. They get the special defense drop. I'm not too worried about that. We just Ice Punch again. If they go to Piloswine, I think even at the health it's at... I don't even know if it can switch into Stealth Rock, to be honest. So they switch in Sticky Web... Stealth Rock, Ice Punch, should do that much. We'll get a useless crit. I'm assuming it was useless, but... Azelf KOs Piloswine with Ice Punch. So now they go Rillaboom. I have a plan. Because they're going to go for Grassy Glide here to knock us out. Which I'm okay with. So we'll play it safe. If they overpredict and don't do that, it's game. So they do go for it. That'll knock us out. So Rillaboom KOs Azelf with Grassy Glide. Take a little bit of Poison Chip. We go into Golisopod. See, the problem is, I think Grassy Glide might go even ahead of First Impression. I don't know if Sucker Punch overrides Grassy Glide, so I'm going to go for First Impression. This might be a misplay. No, okay, so we do go first. Whew. Alright, so Golisopod KOs Rillaboom with First Impression. And now all they have left is Dragapult. But what we have for Dragapult is Sucker Punch, which we haven't revealed yet. Bang. Gone. Oh, what a battle. My goodness. Very well played. Very back and forth, but we came through in the end. Definitely needed the timer. It's coming in at around half an hour for the battle, but my goodness. Very well played. GG to Morgan and Dragahoe. We're back in the win column.